there is a way of supporting Israel, which I believe we should do, right, without justifying what they're currently doing in the Gaza Strip, right? We should provide them with the intel they need. We should provide them with the weapons they need, with the condition that they're going to carry out these operations, special ops, as opposed to bombing the crap out of the Gaza Strip, killing all of these innocent civilians from a remote location. I think that's wrong.
Anna, with all due respect, you're sort of falling for the mainstream narrative that you talk about railing against. So we all saw the story about the hospital that was bombed by Israel. How could you do this? How could you kill innocent civilians? The New York Times basically is now retracting their statement. Yeah, it turns out it was the Islamic Jihad with a failed rocket. I can assure you of
Hold
this.
on.
Nobody
that is not definitive, number one.
Yeah, it's still not.
That is not definitive,
Even
number
the Wall
one.
Street Journal came out and said
that is one example.
In this video, Ana Kasparian educates Patrick with David's lapdog, Adam Sosnick, over Netanyahu. Adam, being one of PBD's usual conservative yes-men, tries to justify Israel's bombing campaign in Gaza, downplaying the civilian casualties and refusing to acknowledge Netanyahu's failures. But Ana Kasparian's just not having any of Adam's BS here. She tears apart his weak defenses, exposing how Netanyahu ignored warnings about Hamas, escalated tensions and reckless policies, and is now dragging Israel into more conflict. Adam keeps falling back on empty conservative talking points, but Ana keeps bringing it back to reality, pointing out how bombing civilians breeds more extremism, makes Israelis less safe, and violates international law. So make sure to watch till the end to see how Ana Kasparian educates Patrick Bet-David's lapdog over Netanyahu.
Even if I give you that argument and it is proven without any doubt that it was Hamas that did that, that is one incident in a situation where 1.1 million Palestinians are being told to evacuate their homes. As they're being evacuated to the part of the Gaza Strip where they're gonna be safe, that area gets bombed.
Yep.
Okay.
So let me ask you a very direct question. Do you think Israel wants to kill innocent civilians?
I do.
You think Israel genuinely wants to?
I do.
What evidence do you have of that?
The evidence is they are refusing to do special operations and instead are relying on bombing areas where they know civilians are at, and then they'll turn around and say, "Well, Hamas is using them as human shields."
So if someone was shooting at you, you don't have kids, right?
If an armed man grabbed a family member of yours, do you have kids?
No, I don't.
Oh, do you have? Okay, your mother. You talked about your mother. If an armed gunman grabbed your mother, had a gun to her head, okay, and he is confronted by the authorities, by law enforcement. And law enforcement, they just decide, you know what? We're not going to negotiate. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to shoot the hell out of both of them. And then they come to you and say, well, your mother, sorry, was a human shield. Would you accept that argument?
That's not the question, though.
Would you accept that argument?
You're making up a random story that my mother is held captive.
Hamas using Palestinians as human shields is not a justification to indiscriminately bomb the hell out of that region, knowing full well that the majority of people who are going to end up dying are not Hamas militants who are underground in the tunnels, okay? Okay, it's the innocent civilians who are going to lose their lives. And the flippant behavior that I see from the West in regard to all of those innocent people losing their lives disgusts me. Okay, seeing people having to leave, vacate their homes, everything that they've known, being forced to leave the land that they have. That is exactly what happened to Armenians. That is exactly what happened during the genocide. And the fact that the United States is just willy-nilly providing cover for that behavior absolutely disgusts me. Israel has a right to defend itself. How it defends itself is where we should have that conversation. Sending special ops in to get Hamas? Hell yeah, go get them.
So Ana just completely corners Adam here, forcing him to confront the reality of Israel's actions. If Israel truly wanted to minimize civilian deaths, why would they rely on bombing entire areas instead of targeted special operations? Adam just can't answer. Instead, he just dodges hard, calls her analogy random to avoid admitting that Israel's strategy directly causes mass civilian casualties. And Al just calls out all his hypocrisy. When entire families in Gaza are wiped out, it's dismissed as Hamas' fault. But that logic would never apply anywhere else. This flippant attitude towards innocent civilians dying is honestly just disgusting. And Ana calls it out directly. The US is backing these bombings, turning a blind eye to clear war crimes while pretending this is just some kind of tragic but unavoidable situation. Adam just has no real argument here, just weak deflections. Ana makes it clear that this isn't just about defending Israel, it's about justifying indiscriminate bombings.
But the idea that all of these innocent kids should lose their lives as a result of this, I don't believe it. I will never support it. And in the long run, that is going to make Israeli civilians less safe, not more safe. It breeds more extremism. And by the way, it's dragging us into a broader war. Okay, you have the Arab world like ready to go, and you have Israel under the leadership of Netanyahu acting incredibly belligerent, doing airstrikes in freaking Lebanon. Okay, talking about going to war in Iran. We're going to bring in all of these Arab countries. You think the United States is going to stay out of that? Hell no. We're going to be dragged into more forever wars. But I just think it's so destructive, so stupid. We're not thinking critically and strategically about how to help our ally Israel while also preventing the reproduction of more extremism.
Yeah, the extremism is never going to go away.
It's not going to go.
That's the foundation of what Hamas is.
It's not going to go away.
In their founding doctrine,
let me tell you something.
Their entire doctrine is to eliminate every Jew that lives in Israel.
Let me explain.
Do you acknowledge the founding doctrine of what Hamas is? The annihilation of all Jews?
I hate Hamas.
Okay.
Let me be clear.
So the question is, how do we annihilate them?
Well, you can't find.
I need you guys to understand something.
Nobody wants to see innocent civilians killed. Nobody, including the IDF.
If a government wiped out my entire family, I have nothing left to live for. And I'm real angry, okay? That is a dangerous combination. And that is exactly what is being bred right now as we speak, as entire families are getting wiped out, civilian families in the Gaza Strip. I totally get that, the discourse in the United States has essentially dehumanize these people. But at the end of the day, they're innocent people in a terrible situation, and they don't deserve the absolute hell that they're dealing with right now, the death and destruction that they're dealing with right now. I want a peaceful two-state solution. This ain't the way to get it.
Ana Kasparian just exposes the real issue happening. Bombing Gaza doesn't make Israel safer. It just creates more extremism and drags the US into just more endless wars. Netanyahu's reckless strategy isn't defense, it's just escalation. Adam dodges again, bringing up Hamas' founding charter as if that justifies indiscriminate bombings. But Ana shuts that down really fast, that wiping out entire families doesn't stop extremism, it just fuels it. And at the end of the day, they're innocent people in a terrible situation, and they don't deserve the absolute hell that they're going through right now. Adam just has no real response as always, just empty talking points. Ana just cuts through all his nonsense and BS, and is just showing that this war is both immoral and just a total failure.
Yeah, we are in full alignment, full agreement that we want to see zero civilian deaths. Nobody wants that. And I can assure you, the IDF, the Mossad, nobody wants civilian deaths. But we're looking for solutions here. If I'm standing in front of a human shield and I'm throwing missiles, bombs, grenades your way, and I'm trying to kill you as a civilian and your family, what would you do? If I'm trying to kill you and I'm standing in front of a civilian, I'm trying to kill you, Ana, what would you do? Hey, we can't kill civilians. We need a peaceful situation here. Or would you shoot back?
I apologize.
No. What would you do?
No, but you are making a hypothetical that doesn't exist right now. We're talking about IDF soldiers
that's literally
in the
what's
safety
going
of
on
their
right
remote
now.
location as they're dropping bombs. That is not what's happening right now.
No.
So we're not having a conversation about
what
an
about
IDF
the 5,000 rockets that
Are you
were
going to let me answer the question?
Let me answer. What about the 5,000 rockets that were fired on Israel that killed civilians?
Well,
so what do you do there?
This is
you
what we
just
do.
say, hey,
this
look,
is what we do.
Until we identify where this is coming from,
are you going to let me answer the question?
We can't kill any civilians. Nobody wants civilians killed.
Here's what we do. The United States taxpayer funds the Iron Dome that intercepts all of those rockets, okay? To pretend as though we're talking about two equal sides is ridiculous to me. It is an asymmetrical war. So I'm happy. I am so happy that the United States did that the United States helped fund the Iron Dome to help keep Israel safe. The point that I'm trying to make right now is that the current effort in basically bombing the crap out of the Gaza Strip, first of all, breaks a bunch of international laws pertaining to war. Okay, so there are war crimes taking place as we speak, and we're here in the United States pretending like we don't see it, even though every other country in the world sees it, even though the UN Security Council sees it. So aside from doing war crimes, we're also creating a future in which Israel isn't going to be safe.
And wrapping this up, Adam's whole argument in this debate was just nonsense. He just framed it like Israel has no choice but to bomb civilians, but Ana just shuts that down completely, rightfully so. This isn't a battlefield. Israel is launching remote airstrikes, committing war crimes, and the US is looking the other way. Instead of addressing that, Adam just throws out bad faith deflections and ignores how the Iron Dome already protects Israel. He won't admit that Israel's response is both disproportionate and illegal. He seems to be just there to justify civilian deaths. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below.